Hi, it is Mike Kaufman from High Five Ed. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to create and record quality interviews using your cell phone. Right, so just a couple tips on how to record better video using that powerful tool that most of us carry around in our pocket. All right, so the things we're going to cover are 1, quality lighting, as well as quality sound. We're going to talk a little bit about how to get a steady shot if you don't have access to a tripod, as well as how to orient your phone and a couple different angles that you can use. And then finally, we're going to talk really briefly about the rule of 3. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about here is the idea of natural light. Ideally, natural light is being used. It turns out better than most light that we'd have in a house or a classroom setting. And on the one side, we have direct natural light, right, where our interview subject is in the sun. And you can tell there's a little bit of shadow. It's very bright. The subject might start squinting after a little while, so you don't want to use direct sunlight. Instead, on the other side, we've got an example of indirect natural light, right? So we're totally in the shade under a nice tree. We've got a nice background there, and you can see the image is really clear, as well as the subject's very comfortable and there's no shadows, right? So really, you want indirect natural light. Now, there's also the idea of backlighting and front lighting. On the one side, you can see the sun and the light is coming from behind our subject, and you can barely see them when looking through the camera, right? So you want to make sure that the light is not behind your subject. However, on the other side, again, you see the light is coming from in front of them, even though they're both in the shade. Just because the light is coming from in front of the interviewee, you have a much clearer view of them. You can see in the camera perfectly, right? So you definitely want to make sure the light is coming from in front of your subject, right? We don't want the shadows. Next, how to get quality sound. So the first thing is you want to try to find a quiet environment, but that's not always possible, right? Sometimes we need to interview people outside where there's lots of noise going on. So if that's the case, an external mic works great. However, not all of us carry around an external mic. So there are options to use earbuds, right? A lot of earbuds these days have microphones built into it. So you can see in this picture, right, the microphone, the cord with the microphone is closest to the subject, right there. Right, so again, that's just going to get quality sound even when there's noise going on in the background. Now, when you're interviewing, you got to get a little close in this, but it's still going to look good through the camera, and again, the sound is going to sound great. Now, the next thing, how to get a steady shot. So if you don't have a tripod, you want to make sure that you keep your elbows in. On the one side, when you're holding your elbows out like that, it's going to be a little bit shakier, right? So you're almost going to make yourself into a tripod, right? Get those elbows dug into the center of your stomach, right where the center of your gravity is. It's going to keep you nice and sturdy. Right, again, not with your elbows out. Keep those elbows tight and tucked in for nice, steady shots. Next up is how you orient or how you hold your phone. So really important, right? You want to hold your phone horizontally, right, side to side. And you can see here on the right side, the phone is being held vertically up and down. And if I play the video, right, you have all that black space on the side of it, right? It's wasted. However, the same video, right, using the same phone, same angle, right, you're now going to get the full view and it fills the screen better. Right, so really important, right? Make sure that you are holding your phone not vertically up and down. It's not going to turn out good, but instead you're holding your phone, right, horizontally, side to side. It's going to fill the frame. It's the shape of computers, the shape of TVs. It's just going to look a whole lot better. Now, if you have your camera oriented correctly, you have 2 choices of the angle that you use when you interview your subject. Now, one option is if you have a tripod or a friend hold the camera, and then you as the interviewer can stand just next to it, and the person being interviewed can speak directly to you. Right, a lot of people feel more comfortable and will be more candid and natural when talking to an actual person. And with the camera right next to them, it'll still look good. Now, the other option is you can hold the camera and interview through the camera where the person is looking directly at it. Also looks great, but what you really want to do here is check with your person that you're interviewing, right? What do they feel more comfortable doing? Because really, it doesn't matter which angle you choose. What matters is that your subject is comfortable so that they're giving their most natural answers possible. And then the last tip is the rule of 3, right? So photographer, a trick in photography is using the rules of 3. You can see on the screen, right, a feature of iPhone 6s and above is the grid. And it broke the screen into 3, and you notice my subject is lined onto 1/3 of it, right? So you can see right there, he's lined up on 1/3, and that gives space on the other side of the frame. Now, what does that do? It gives us two options. One, right, it'll give us space to add text, right? So we can add text to our video and we'll have space there to do so, or picture-in-picture, other media. And then also it looks balanced. Now, also a final tip with the rule of 3, if you were doing multiple interviews, you want to rotate or change which side of the third they're on, right? It's just going to make it more engaging and more appealing for your audience when the video finishes up. So that's it. Those are some tips on how to use your cell phone to record quality interviews with sound, lighting, angles, and all those things that you want to be thinking about, right, in order to make your interview look great.